Providing our youth with extraordinary experiences will produce extraordinary individuals. That is the motto of the Focus Youth Network. And I'm here today at the Christian Academy because the Christian Academy was a mainstay in my life, and it provided me so many experiences. The same experiences that provided the foundation for the values of the Focus Youth Network. I'm here today with two of my former 8th grade teachers, Kevin Skaer and Rodman Haseltine, who were certainly integral in just providing experiences for me and helping to shape my character, and in turn help to shape today the Focus Youth Network. And so I just wanted to bring you guys here today, one, just to show my appreciation for all the things that you've done for me over time, the relationships that we built, and the things that I learned from you. I'm super appreciative. So I wanted to bring you here today just to talk about how you guys helped to take me from an 8th grader with not much vision to an adult and creating the Focus Youth Network. So first, I have a couple questions for you. You can just answer them very candidly. The first one I have for you, Mr. Skaer, is now that you have moved from 8th grade teacher to principal now, what do you feel are some things, some character-based things, some things that kids need to know when they leave TCA?
First, it jumps out at me is like their identity in Christ and knowing, getting them built up in firm foundation, so they're grounded in God's word. So that's why we do catechism, and they memorize Bible verses, and that whole foundation is critical. So wherever they go, workforce, college, just in their neighborhoods, so they're able to be like, my identity secure. I don't need to be involved in this, and so because kids and adults still are looking so much for acceptance and a place in the world. And so I think if we continue to ground them at TCA in who Christ is, the gospel of Jesus Christ, and then they go out from that and they're just so much like, I don't have to be involved in this for me to feel secure with you. I don't have to do this to be accepted by you. And so that really builds their strength up in what God has gifted them. And really what your organization's about is building that character up. And so, at TCA, then you have a school system that's doing that. And that's why I love working here so much. That stability, we're all on the same page doing that and that focus. And that's what makes TCA special, is that same central focus on revolving around Christ and revolving around getting our kids, for us to disciple our kids. Very similar to Mr. Hayes discipled me as a 5th-year teacher. I was my first year. Yeah. Then in turn we disciple you, and now you disciple others. Like literally, I think of that as like, wow, how cool is that? You know what I mean? Awesome. How cool is that? So, but yeah, that'd be mine.
And when I think about what TCA has done, you guys have done such a great job of that. And I think about where I was, as an 8th grader. Very unsure, growing up in the city, growing up, just amongst a lot of negativity, but then coming out to TCA and learning, you're a young man of God, you're a man of Christ, and you can affect lives, and just really learning how to do that and seeing other men do that was really cool. So I'm super appreciative of that. Thank you. Mr. Hayes, I really can't think of anyone that I've probably, revere more, and just because of our interactions and our relationships, and I can imagine that you have a number of other people who would, just speak to the relationship that you developed. How have you been able to develop such great relationships with your students over time?
Well, I would say, Mr. Skaer and I have the same view on this with just loving your students.
Yeah.
However way that shows itself, and it's different for every child as well. For me, it's a little bit easier to connect with each child because of being in the phys ed classroom or in the coaching atmosphere. Not in the regular classroom where you have to go over so much stuff. So that's why the retreats and the fun days are so important during that TCA does. That you can build those relationships, and I try to connect with each kid. Every practice or every class, and it doesn't have to be a huge connection, just a connection. Whether it be asking about his personal life, would you do this weekend? Something as simple as that, or if it's some encouraging word, any type of thing. Like even the most unathletic kid can make a good pass.
Yeah.
And so get on that right away. I connect with that kid. I said, hey, great pass, and that just gives him that little confidence and that connection. Hey, Mr. Hayes is seeing me. And also just, besides the encouraging word, being humble with them and asking for forgiveness when we're going to overstep. And he and I have talked many times, we just overstepped here, we need to go, and we've talked about that and asking for forgiveness, and I've talked about that scenario where I said something where I shouldn't have to another player, and I apologize not only to that team but also to my own players, and they understood, hey, Mr. Hayes isn't perfect and he's humble enough to ask for forgiveness. So
and I can speak to both of the things that you guys mentioned, and seeing them in action and seeing how, Mr. Hayes, you are very, you take time to make sure that those relationships aren't broken. That, the times that you have where you might have shown some frustration don't hinder the relationship and the time that you spent building with someone. And I think that's so important. I can think specifically about some times where, you guys just, really had an amazing effect on my life and really set the foundation for not just my life, but the Focus Youth Network and what we do. And specifically, 8th grade, I remember, Mr. Skaer, you talked a lot about marriage, probably because you had gotten married and were having a family at that time. But marriage is something that you talked a lot about, and helping us young men to understand what love really is and how to show love and understanding our feelings, which I think a lot of young men don't get nowadays. And so I can really remember that being integral in shaping my character. And then Mr. Hayes, just the empathy you showed with me, just the understanding who I was as a young man. I remember one time, I got caught cursing during an overnighter, and you heard me. You could have reprimanded me at that time. You could have, even embarrassed me. But you took a moment, probably at 2:00 in the morning, pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I know that's not you. You're just fitting in right now. You're finding your way. But don't let that define you." And that stuck with me. And it helped to shape that character and how I now address a lot of my mentees, my students. And so I'm super appreciative, and I want y'all to know that, God gets the glory for everything we do, but I think it's important sometimes to hear that, your work doesn't go unnoticed. And so I wanted to do that. Before we finish up, I do want to just give you an opportunity just to talk about, maybe one memory that you could, share just with our viewers. I know I was a goofy kid. I was a goofy 8th grader, and I did a lot of, crazy stuff. But, if there's one memory that you could share, that would make you feel great as well.
Sure. We were doing a chess tournament, and, we were always playing chess somehow, every break, every free time, sometimes during class, I think, even sometimes. But it was so competitive, and it was great. And I wasn't on the philosophy of that I was going to beat every kid, and I wasn't going to let anybody win. And so you finally got me one time, and man, you let the whole stinking world know. It was awesome. It was great, Devin. So, but yeah, every kid knew. The hallway people come up to me like, Devin beat you, what happened? And so that was a great memory, though. And it was, humbling, but it was good. It was good. I was proud for you even to beat me. You kicked my butt, so it was all good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure it spread like wild.
Yeah, it did. It was out, especially this school, and small, and everybody knows.
And you were you like to talk some trash.
Absolutely.
So you would give it to us.
I talk like, trash to you guys. You stink, man. I'm not playing you. Like, you have to get to my level.
But with that, with Mr. Skaer, that's part of his love, and the kids absolutely know that. Busting on each other, and that's just, the kids love it. They eat it up. I see it every day.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. It humanizes,
it does.
teachers.
It makes you way to put it. Yeah.
Very, very relatable.
Unusual principle. Very unusual principle.
But and I think that I want you to be able to share. But I also think that lends to why I continue to come back, and why TCA is where it is now, and will continue to thrive, as I think, just the leadership, the people that have been here for a while, still have the love that is needed to keep this place going, the energy, to be, I don't know how old you are, but
49.
I could do the math,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then to be your age and
Yeah.
and still have the love
Yeah.
For what you're doing is great.
Thanks, man.
Ms. Hayes, you got a memory,
Oh
man?
yeah, I got plenty of memories. Well, just being in the weight room with you every day, just one-on-one, was a joy. You know, the
Yeah.
things we talked about, how we built our relationship that way, and
Yeah.
how you just exploded in the weight room, just it was incredible. But I would say a couple memories were the playing soccer, and you know, we weren't a great team, but we would kick the ball over the goal when we were shooting, and to go into the thorn bushes, and you'd be back there as the goalie, getting the balls, and we're hearing "ow, ow, ow," and all of us are laughing because we know exactly what's going on back there, the painfulness.
Yeah.
And also, your character really showed playing basketball. Like I said, your team was not as good, not because you didn't have quality players, but because you didn't have as many quality players.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. The score did not matter. You were playing hard regardless, and I know that was something that your parents instilled in you. The hard work ethic, no matter what, give God glory. And I feel like you did that, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. You know, as I said, you guys played an integral role in my life, and in turn are playing an integral role in a number of people's lives. And so I just want to thank you guys so much for allowing me to grow as a young man, allowing me to make mistakes and helping me to grow through those mistakes and find that focus that I need in my life. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Guys, this is the Focus Youth Network. We are here with Kevin Skaer and Rod Haseltine at the TCA. They have helped to set the foundation for what we do here at the Focus Youth Network, and so we're super appreciative. And so as you figure out what you're doing in your lives and as you move on, we encourage you guys to also find some focus, because finding ourselves creates unlimited success.